Good afternoon, and we'll call this oversight hearing on building Indian country tools for community development to order. Today we'll hear from federal agencies and tribal leaders on how federal financing tools such as loans, grants, and technical assistance are being deployed in tribal communities. Since 2006, this committee has held 8 hearings on economic and community development in Indian country. Testimony in prior committee hearings, information from tribal leaders, and literature all reveal significant challenges facing Indian tribes and individual business owners. The survey of business owners conducted by the Census Bureau found that nearly 2/3 of Native American businesses were started with the use of either personal and family savings or credit cards. This demonstrates a lack of access to traditional investment sources such as bank loans. In addition to the lack of access for startup capital, some of the most notable challenges are a lack of interest from lenders in secondary markets, greater need for credit subsidies, and a lack of business education in tribal communities. Traditional models of financing do not always work in rural communities, and this is especially true on tribal lands, where land title issues, as well as a difficulty in collateralizing tribal assets, make investors wary of working with tribes. Local community banks and community development financial institutions can fill those investment needs. For instance, in my home state of North Dakota, there are 5 community development financial institutions that since 1996 have been awarded nearly $6.1 million from the CDFI fund at the Treasury Department. Also, building credit and developing human capital affects the ability of tribal businesses to begin and maintain operations. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the current unemployment rate for Native Americans is 7.8%. Since the Bureau began keeping this data in 2000, the all-time lowest percentage of unemployment for Native Americans was 7.5%. That means at this point, we are near some of the lowest unemployment statistics for Native Americans. However, this rate is still more than double the national rate of 3.8%. As the President's administration continues to promote pro-growth policies such as regulatory reform, it is important that these positive impacts are felt in Indian country. That's why on January 24, 2019, I introduced the Indian Community Economic Enhancement Act of 2019. The ICE Act, Senate Bill 212, aims to address the disparity in economic opportunities that tribal businesses and Native entrepreneurs face by amending existing law to increase access to capital, attract businesses to Indian communities, and lessen the cost of economic development by reducing federal bureaucracy. The ICE Act amends the Native American Business Development, Trade Promotion, and Tourism Act of 2000 to require coordination between the Secretaries of Commerce, Interior, and Treasury to develop initiatives encouraging investment in Indian communities. It also elevates the Director of Indian Programs in the Department of Commerce, permanently waives the requirement for Native CDFIs to provide a matching cost share for assistance received by the Treasury CDFI. The committee reported the bill favorably on January 29. I look forward to seeing the legislation enacted into law. Community and economic development are essential to the long-term health and stability of our Native communities. It is why this committee has frequently held hearings on the subject and why we return to it today. With that, I will now turn to Vice Chairman Udall for his opening statement.